The Rothschild family are considered by many to be the most powerful and the richest family in history, who have been behind some of the largest institutions, investments and banks across the world. In the last video, we had discussed how Mayor Amschad Rothschild rose his family from a Jewish ghetto in Frankfurt to the most prominent banking family in Europe, and how he sent his 5 sons across Europe to the most prestigious cities to set up additional banks, positioning themselves to expand the family empire even more. The Rothschild family's involvement in the Napoleonic Wars continued. During this time, the family had become heavily involved in the gold bullion trade. Nathan Mayer Rothschild of the London branch was instrumental in almost single-handedly financing the British war effort, organising the shipments of gold to the Duke of Wellington's armies all across Europe, as well as arranging payments to Britain's allies in continental Europe. By 1815, the Duke of Wellington had defeated the mighty Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Waterloo, and by this time, virtually all the European countries had learned from the Rothschild family, consolidating their positions as Europe's most prominent banking family. There were even rumours that Nathan Rothschild had got the news of the victory at Waterloo before anyone else, and made an astronomical amount of money on the London Stock Exchange. During the 19th century, the Rothschild family possessed the largest private fortune in the world, and they financed numerous important projects across the globe. They were vital in the industrialisation of Europe at this time. The Rothschild family were instrumental in supporting railway systems across the world and in complex government financing for projects such as the Suez Canal. During this time, the family also bought up a large proportion of the property in prominent cities across Europe, including buying up large portions of Mayfair in London. Also, they were directly involved in the independence of Brazil from the Kingdom of Portugal. N.M. Rothschild and Sons raised the capital for the government of the newly formed Empire of Brazil on the London Stock Exchange. Part of the price of Portuguese recognition of Brazilian independence was that Brazil should take over repayment of the principal and interest of a substantial loan from N.M. Rothschild and Sons to the Portuguese government. At the same time, the Rothschild family founded numerous multinational companies, such as Alliance Assurance, Chemin de Fer du Nord, the Rio Tinto Mining Company, Aramé and Maurice, and the De Beer Diamond Company. The family also funded the creation of the African colony of Rhodesia. During the same period, the Japanese government approached the London and Paris branches of the Rothschild families for funding during the Russo-Japanese War, eventually leading to the issuing of Japanese war bonds, which would be valued into the billions. However, during the same period, the Neapolitan Rothschild branch in Naples was the first branch of the family to decline when revolution broke out in Naples on 7th of September 1860, and a provisional Italian government was set up. Because of the family's close political connections with Austria and France, Adolf Karl von Rothschild was called to the delicate position. He chose to take a temporary sanctuary, the last Neapolitan king, Francis II of the Two Sicilies. However, the Rothschild branches in London, Paris, and Vienna were not prepared nor willing to financially support the deposed king. With the ensuing unification of Italy and the mounting tension between Adolf Rothschild and the rest of the family, the Naples house closed after 42 years in business. Also, in 1901, the German branch closed after more than a century in business following the death of Wilhelm Rothschild with no male heirs. Nevertheless, the other Rothschild branches continue to be the most prominent banking family in Europe and across the world. The name of Rothschild became synonymous with extravagance and great wealth, due to the family's amazing art collections and for its palaces. At the lowest estimates, 41 palaces had been built during this period alone, and they were of a scale and luxury perhaps unparalleled even by the richest royal families. However, the rise of Nazi Germany in the 1930s led to a precarious situation for the Austrian Rothschilds under the annexation of Austria in 1938, when the family was pressured to sell its banking operation at a fraction of its real worth. While other Rothschilds had escaped the Nazis, Louis Rothschild was kidnapped and imprisoned for a year, only being released after a substantial ransom was paid by his family. After Louis was allowed to leave the country in March 1939, the Nazis placed the firm of S.M. von Rothschild under compulsory administration. Nazi officers emptied the Rothschild family estates of all their valuables. Even after World War II had finished, the Austrian Rothschilds were unable to reclaim much of their former assets and properties. Following the war, the Rothschilds were influential in establishing a Jewish homeland. In particular, Baron Edmund James de Rothschild, who made large donations and lent significant support to the movement during its early years, which helped lead to the establishment of the State of Israel. In 1982, the French branch of the Rothschild dynasty was powerless, as the family business was nationalised by the socialist government of newly elected President Francois Mitterrand. But later, they were able to reclaim their bank. The French branch of the Rothschild family has had enormous influence all over the globe, in particular in South America. In Uruguay alone, they own 70% of the private land and own similar assets in other nations. In 1989, the family returned to Germany, where the British branch, Ellen Rothschild and Sons, and the newer, extremely successful Switzerland branch, Bank Rothschild AG, both set up representative banking offices in Frankfurt. Today, the Rothschild family is still immensely powerful and extremely wealthy, with banking institutions across the globe. They remain the trusted bankers for the nobility and royals, including the late Queen Elizabeth's longtime banker, Sir Evelyn de Rothschild, and King Charles' close friendship with the late Lord Rothschild. The current president of France, Emmanuel Macron, worked for the Rothschild for many years, and they are also close friends with numerous other politicians and presidents. The Rothschild family have also done numerous amazing philanthropic work across the world throughout the generations. Now it's time for another generation of Rothschild bankers to innovate, improve and increase again on what the family has achieved. With recent mergers between the French Rothschild Bank and the London Rothschild Bank, they are only to continue to grow the Rothschild family dynasty and remain the most prominent international bankers in the world. Exactly how Mayhem Rothschild would have envisioned it when he first set out creating this family banking dynasty. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Keep sharp. They're successful. They have their life in order. It's just simple. Keep your life in order.
Paid the cost to be the boss. Paid the cost to be the boss. I paid the cost to be the boss. Look at me.